Hello, welcome to Lesson 1A for the intermediate course. In Lesson 1, we are going to study in grammar about the simple present and continuous, action and non-action verbs. In vocabulary, we're going to learn about food and cooking. In pronunciation, we're going to learn the vowel sounds. Let's start. Lesson 1. Vocabulary. Food and cooking. Letter A. Take the quiz in pairs. In this activity here, you can think about the food according to what is asked. Can you think of one red fruit? One yellow fruit? One green fruit? Two kinds of food that some people are allergic to. Three kinds of food that come from milk. Four vegetables that you can put in a salad. Five containers that you can buy food in. Six things that people sometimes have for breakfast. You got it? Amazing! All right, now we're going to page 152 so we can learn more food and cooking. So this is the page. First of all, you are going to match the food, the words, and the pictures. Okay, so take a look at picture number 1. Fish and seafood. Let's try to match. Number 1 is crab. Can you do the others? Please pause the video and do it. Very well. Now we are going to meet. Please try to match these words to the pictures. Pause the video and answer. Amazing. Now let's go to the fruits and vegetables. These are the fruits and the vegetables. Please pause the video and write. Okay, did you finish? Now we are going to listen. You are going to check your answers, okay? Let's go. Listen, check, and repeat.
1.2 Food and cooking. Food. Fish and seafood. 1. Crab. 5.
Mussels.
2. Salmon. 6.
Shrimp.
3. Squid. 4.
Tuna.
Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's go to the meat.
Meat. 10. Beef. 11.
Chicken.
8. Duck. 9.
Lamb.
7. Pork.
Great. Notice that pork is the meat, okay? Pork. And pig is the animal when it is alive, okay? Now let's go to the fruits and the vegetables.
Fruit and vegetables. 23.
Beet.
12.
Cabbage.
22.
Cherries.
16.
Cucumber.
18.
Eggplant.
21.
Grapes.
25.
Green beans.
24.
Lemon.
17.
Mango.
13.
Melon.
19.
Peach.
14.
Pear.
26.
Raspberries.
15.
Red pepper.
20.
Zucchini.
Very well. Now, let's do letter C. Are there any things in the list that you love? Is there anything in the list that you hate? What about the ones you have never tried? Please list some of them here. Letter D. Are there any other kinds of fish, meat, or fruits and vegetables that are very common in your country? What are they? Please write your answer. Okay, excellent. Now let's go to part 2, activity 2, cooking. Let's match the words and the pictures. So here we have some different kinds of food and how they are cooked or prepared. Okay? For example, number 4, we have boiled. Can you pause the video now and try to match the other ones? Okay, let's check your answers now.
1.3. Cooking. 4.
Boiled.
3.
Roasted.
1.
Baked.
6.
Grilled.
2.
Fried.
5.
Steamed.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, so these are some kind of food and how they are prepared. We can use this vocabulary here to talk about them, okay? For example, the eggs. How do you like your eggs? Do you like them fried, boiled? I prefer mine fried, I guess. Okay, and you. Now, in letter C, how do you prefer these things to be cooked? How do you prefer your egg? How do you like your chicken? How do you like your potatoes? And how do you like your fish? Pause the video and answer. Great. Now, you can try talking about your preferences using I like my eggs boiled. I prefer my potatoes baked. I like my chicken roasted. I prefer my fish grilled. Okay, so you can talk about it, about your food, how you prefer your food this way. Now, attention, phrasal verbs. Learn these phrasal verbs connected with food and diet. I eat out a lot because I don't really have time to cook. You say I eat out when you mean eat in restaurants. I'm trying to cut down on coffee right now. I'm only having 1 cup at breakfast. If you want to cut down on something, that means you want to have less of it. Okay? Literally cutting down from your diet. Next, the doctor told me I had very high cholesterol and that I should completely cut out on high fat cheese and dairy products from my diet. So, if you need to cut out in an ingredient or something from your diet, it means to eliminate. Stop eating it. Okay? Cut down. You still can have it, but you eat less than you would normally do. But if you cut out, that means totally eliminate it. Okay? Fantastic. Now let's go back to page 4 and continue our activities. All right, now in letter C, we have this activity here. Listen to these common adjectives to describe food. Do you know what they mean? Then say one kind of food that we often use with each adjective. So let's hear these kind of foods here.
1.4.
Canned.
Fresh.
Frozen.
Low fat.
Raw.
Spicy.
Takeout.
Okay, now try to look for the meaning of these words if you still don't know. And then please say one kind of food that we often use with them. Canned, fresh, frozen, low fat, raw, spicy, and takeout. Pause the video and answer. Okay, let's see some suggestions. Okay, canned, we can use tomatoes, tuna, canned tomatoes, canned tuna. Fresh, we can use for fish, fresh vegetables. Frozen, we can use with peas, fish, pizza, etc. Low fat, it could be yogurt, cheese. Raw, we can use with fish, vegetables. Spicy could be the sauce, chicken. And takeout, we can use it for pizza, Chinese. Okay, remember that the takeout food is the food that we usually order from another place. Okay, we don't cook at home, we order takeout food. We buy it too in order to eat somewhere else, but the restaurant where you bought it. Okay, all right, now let's go to pronunciation. In this pronunciation activity, we're going to practice the vowel sounds. Look at the 8 sound pictures. What are the words and the sounds? Do you remember? We have here in number 1, eh, as in fish. Eh, okay, the short I sound. In number 2, we have the long I sound, which is E, as in tree. In number 3, we have the sound of the eh, cat. Eh, cat. In number 4, we have the R sound. R. In number 5, we have the ah sound. Ah, like in clock. In 6, we have the or, like in horse, or. In number 7, we have O as in bull, oh, the short U sound. In number 8, we have the long O sound, which is ooh, ooh. Okay, now in activity B, you're supposed to look at the words in each list and you need to cross out the word that doesn't have the sound in the picture. Okay, so let's do it. In number 1, which of these words here doesn't have the I sound? I. Pause the video and cross it out. Actually, here we have the example. Spicy. I. Here we have, for example, squid, chicken, spicy, grilled. So spicy is the one with a different sound. It's I, like in bike. Okay, so cross it out. Number 2, now it's your turn. Tree, E. Which word here doesn't have the E sound? Cross it out, please. In number 3, cat, so please cross the word out that doesn't have this sound. Number 4, R. Which word doesn't have this sound? 5, aw, clock. 6, or, horse, or. 7, bull. 8, ooh, boot. Good job. Now let's listen and check, okay?
1.5. Fish. I. Squid. Chicken. Spicy. Grilled.
Tree. E. Beef. Steamed. Beans. Breakfast.
Cat. Grapes. Salmon. Lamb. Cabbage.
Car. R. Margarine. Carton. Jar. Warm.
Clock. Sausage. Roast. Chocolate. Box.
Horse. Or. Pork. Fork. Boiled. Pour.
Bull. Cook. Sugar. Pudding. Food.
Boot. Ooh. Spoon. Zucchini. Fruit. Duck.
Okay, so here we have. These are the answers. Please check if you did them right. Okay, now a suggestion for you is to go to Soundbank, page 166, and look at the typical spellings of the sounds in A. Here on page 166, we have the vowel sounds. So please, you can check them here. Tree, E. You have the usual spelling sounds. So here, for example, double E, beef, speed, EA, peach, team, or just E, refund, medium. So these are the usual spelling. Here, not so common but also happen. People, magazine, niece, receipt. Okay, so try to do the same for all the other vowel sounds so you can learn to identify where these sounds usually appear so you can't miss them out. Okay, please do it. Now let's go back here to page 4, listening and speaking. Just reinforcing that the activities where we have here speaking, they will be practiced in our classes. Okay, so you can prepare your answers, but during our classes we are going to practice them as well. Okay, listening and speaking, food and eating. In letter A, listen to 5 people talking. Each person is answering one of the questions in food and eating above. Match each speaker with a question. So let's take a look at the questions before we go through the listening. Number 1 we have, is there any food or drink that you couldn't live without? How often do you eat? How often do you eat it? How often do you drink it? Do you ever have ready-made food? Do you ever have a takeout food? What kind? 3. What's your favorite fruit? What's your favorite vegetable? Are there any that you really don't like? 4. When you eat out, do you usually order meat, fish, or vegetarian? 5. What food do you usually eat when you're feeling a little down, like a little depressed? B. Before playing sports or exercising. C. Before you have an exam or some important work to do. So please answer. Now you are going to listen to 5 people talking. You're going to match the speakers to which question these people are answering, okay?
1.6 A.
I usually have meat or seafood, usually shrimp or something as an appetizer, and then maybe lamb for the main course.
B.
I often have ready-made vegetable soups that you just have to heat up. In fact, they're the only vegetables I ever eat. And I usually have a couple of frozen pizzas in the freezer for emergencies. I don't really order takeout when I'm on my own, but if I'm with friends in the evening, we sometimes order Chinese food for dinner.
C.
Eggs and soda. I have eggs for breakfast at least twice a week, and I drink a couple of cans of soda every day.
D.
If I'm feeling down, chicken soup with nice big pieces of chicken in it. It's warm and comforting. I usually have a banana before going to the gym. If I know I'm going to have a really long meeting, I usually have a coffee and a cupcake because I think it will keep me awake and give me energy.
E.
Fruit.
cherries, strawberries, raspberries, and apples. Vegetables, peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers. The only thing I really don't like is zucchini. I can't even stand the smell of it.
Okay, if necessary, play again. Okay, great. Now, let's check your answers. So, speaker B is question number 2. Speaker C, question number 1. Speaker D, question number 5. Speaker E, question number 3. Okay, excellent. Now, you are going to listen once again, and this time you're going to make some notes about their answers. Okay, listen again and make some notes, just some important information about each speaker. Now, in letter C, ask and answer the questions with a partner. What do you have in common? I suggest that you answer these questions in your book, and during our classes, we are going to talk about them, okay? Great. Okay, so now moving on to next page. Now we have a reading activity. Mood, food. So, is there any relationship between our mood and the food we eat? Do you think the food can really change your mood in each day? This is what we are going to study about now, okay? Uh, are the foods in the list carbohydrates or proteins? With a partner, think of 4 more kinds of food for each category. Okay, something important here. We have here cake, chicken, pasta, and salmon. Which of them are carbohydrates? Which of them are proteins? Okay, let's see if you got it right. So here, cake and pasta are carbohydrates. Chicken and salmon are proteins. Okay. Now we are going to do this with a partner. Answer the questions below with either carbohydrates or proteins. So let's go. Write in your book. What kind of food do you think it is better to eat? For lunch, if you have an important exam or meeting. What kind of food do you think it is better to eat for breakfast? What kind of food do you think it is better to eat for your evening meal? And what kind of food do you think it is better to eat if you're feeling stressed? So for each of these questions here, you're supposed to answer with carbohydrates or proteins. Okay? Excellent. Now that you answered, look at the title of the article. What do you think it means? This is the title, Mood Food. What do you think it means? Mood is related to how you are feeling and the food, okay? So, read the article once to find out and to check your answers to letter B. So, my suggestion for this text is follow in your book Okay? The text, underline the words you don't know. If there is any pronunciation that you need to practice, you can stress out this word so you can practice after the exercise. Okay, let's start. Mood food. We live in a stressful world, and daily life can sometimes make us feel tired, stressed, or depressed. Some people go to the doctor for help. Others try alternative therapies. But the place to find a cure could be somewhere completely different, in the kitchen. Dr. Paul Clayton, a food expert from Middlesex University, says the brain is affected by what you eat and drink, just like every other part of your body. Certain types of food contain substances that affect how you think and feel. For example, food that is high in carbohydrates can make us feel more relaxed. It also makes us feel happy. Research has shown that people on diets often begin to feel a little depressed after 2 weeks because they are eating fewer carbohydrates. On the other hand, food that is rich in protein makes us feel awake and focused. Research has shown that school children who eat a high protein breakfast often do better at school than children whose breakfast is lower in protein. Also, eating the right kind of meal at lunchtime can make a difference if you have an exam in the afternoon or business meeting where you need to make some quick decisions. In an experiment for a TV show, two chess players, both former champions, had different meals before playing each other. Paul had a plate of prosciutto and salad, full of protein from the red meat, and his opponent, Terry, had pasta with a creamy sauce, full of carbohydrates. In the chess match, Terry felt sleepy and took much longer than Paul to make decisions about what moves to make. The experiment was repeated several times with the same result. Another powerful mood food could become a replacement for some medications doctors prescribe for stress. In a study, Swiss researchers discovered that eating one dark chocolate candy bar, about 1.4 ounces, had beneficial effects on high stress people. Not only did eating the dark chocolate help reduce stress, it was also shown to improve mood and reduce high blood pressure. Why does chocolate make people less stressed? Well, first, it causes the body to reduce the level of the stress hormone cortisol. Second, it reduces the fight or flight hormone, a hormone that makes people want to start a fight or run away when they are very stressed. In addition, it contains other compounds that lower blood pressure and improve your mood. These three things, along with its delicious taste, make chocolate a powerful mood changer. I like that. So please check on the words that you don't understand. Look up in a dictionary. Practice pronunciation. This is all part of the lesson, okay? Very well. Now, to help us here, the question was which of these things, which food do you think it is better to eat in these specific occasions? So let's take a look here now at the answers. So, in letter B, here, for lunch, if you have an important exam or meeting, it is important that you eat proteins because they will help you to become more focused. Okay. In letter B, for breakfast, it's also important to eat proteins. Now, for your evening meal, to help you feel more relaxed, it's it's recommended that you eat more carbohydrates. And if you're feeling stressed, carbohydrates are also a go. Okay? Hope you got them right. Now in C, look at the title of the article. What do you think it means? Okay, now according to the text that you've just read, what do you think it means? Mood food. Exactly. Just the relationship to what you eat and how you feel after eating this kind of foods. Okay? Now, let's try to read this article once again. And you're going to say with your own words why the following people are mentioned. Please pause the video now and write what you got from the text, what is said or mentioned about these people or things in the text. All right, let's then check your answers. So Dr. Paul Clayton is a food expert from Middlesex University, and he says that our brains are affected by the things we eat and drink, and that some foods affect how we think and feel. People on diets, they often begin to feel depressed after 2 weeks because they are eating fewer carbohydrates, and carbohydrates makes us feel happy. 3. School children. School children who have protein for breakfast do better at school because protein makes us feel awake and focused. Paul and Terry. They are former chess champions. In an experiment they did before a match, Paul had a plate of prosciutto and salad full of protein from the red meat, and Terry had pasta with a creamy sauce full of carbohydrates. In the chess match, Terry fell sleepy and took longer than Paul to decide what moves to make. The Swiss researchers. The researchers found that eating dark chocolate reduces stress. They also proved that chocolate improves mood and reduces high blood pressure. Okay, you don't need to write all of this, but you can write a little more or less about what is written here. Okay, now in activity E, find adjectives in the article for the verbs and nouns in the list. What's the difference between the two adjectives made from stress? So let's go. Now, try to find in the article the verbs that are related to these words here. Okay, we have here stress, relax, wake, sleep, power, and benefit. So you will find adjectives for the verbs and nouns in the list. Okay, did you finish? Let's check your answers then. Okay, so we have here stress. We have the words stressful and stressed. Okay, here important to see the difference between stressful and stressed. Let's see here. For example, stressful, causing mental or emotional stress. Usually, a situation or something is stressful. So, working for long hours is a little stressful. Stressed, The adjective, it's like experiencing mental or emotional strain or tension. So, this is usually a state. I am stressed today. She is a stressed person. Okay? Stressing, stressful is the thing. Something is stressful. Stressed is the person. The person who is stressed at that moment. Okay? Okay. Oh, sorry. Continuing here. Relax, we have relaxed. Wake, the verb, we have the word awake, not sleeping. Awake, alert. Sleepy, sleep, sleepy. Power, powerful. Benefit, beneficial. Okay, so these are the words. Now, in letter F, ask and answer the questions with a partner. Here, you can think about your answer, and then in our class, you can talk about them. So, what time of day do you usually eat protein and carbohydrates? How do they make you feel? How often do you eat chocolate? Does it make you feel happier? After reading the article, is there anything you would change about your eating habits? All right. Now, activity 5, listening and speaking. Now, we're going to talk about restaurants. Let's have here some conversation about it. You can write the answers in a notebook. So, about restaurants, question 1, how often do you eat out? 2, what's your favorite A kind of food? Chinese, Italian. B, restaurant dish. 3, how important are these things to you in a restaurant? Number them 1 through 4, being 1 the most important. The food, the service, the atmosphere, the price. 4, have you ever tried English food? What did you think of it? All right, in class, we're going to discuss about it, okay? Now, I wanted to take a look at this text here about Steve Anderson, and then we're going to listen to part of an interview. This is Steve Anderson. Let's learn something about him. Steve Anderson had always had a passion for food. He was first taught to cook by his mother, who is half Burmese. After studying physics in college, he got in a summer job helping with a cooking course in Italy, where he met several famous chefs. One of them, Alastair Liddell, later hired him as a trainee chef. 2 years later, he moved to Valencia in Spain and opened a restaurant, Chuceria. Now one of the most popular restaurants in town. Okay, now you are going to listen to part 1 of this interview with Steve Anderson, and you are going to pay attention to the pictures here on this page. You are going to number them according to the order they appear on the audio, okay? So, for example, in letter A, we have here Steve Anderson's restaurant. In letter B, we have mussels. In letter C, we have snails and shrimps. In letter D, the desserts. In letter E, we have the casseroles. And then in letter F, we have the market. Okay, So please listen now and order the photos according to the order that they are mentioned in the listening.
1.7. Part 1.
What was your favorite food when you were a child?
Well, I always liked unusual things. At least things that most English children at the time didn't like. For instance, when I was 6 or 7, my favourite things were snails. Oh, and prawns with garlic.
Funny things for a 6-year-old English boy to like.
Well, the thing is, my parents liked travelling and eating out a lot, and I first tried snails in France. And the prawns, my first prawns, I had at a Spanish restaurant in the town where we lived.
So you were interested in Spanish food right from the start. Is that why you decided to come to Spain?
Partly. But of course, I suppose, like a lot of British people, I wanted to see the sun. The other thing that attracted me when I got here were all the fantastic ingredients. I remember going into the market for the first time and saying, wow.
When you opened your restaurant, how did you want it to be different from typical Spanish restaurants?
Well, when I came to Spain, all the good restaurants were very formal, very traditional. In London then, the fashion was for informal places where the waiters wore jeans, but the food was amazing. So I wanted a restaurant a bit like that. I also wanted a restaurant where you could try more international food, but made with some of these fantastic local ingredients. For example, Spain's got wonderful seafood, but usually here it's just grilled or fried. I started doing things in my restaurant, like cooking Valencian mussels in Thai green curry paste.
What do you most enjoy cooking?
What I most enjoy cooking, I think, are those traditional dishes which use quite cheap ingredients, but they need very long and careful cooking, and then you turn it into something really special, like a really good casserole, for example.
And is there anything you don't like cooking?
Maybe desserts. You have to be very, very precise when you're making desserts, and that's not the way I am.
Okay, excellent. Please listen again if necessary. All right, so here we have the answers. Number 1, the first thing he mentions here is in C, snails and shrimp with garlic. If you paid attention, you will notice that you didn't hear the word shrimp, for example. He uses the word, let me try to write here, prawns. So prawns is a British word for shrimp. Okay, prawns. Snails and prawns with garlic is the same as snails and shrimp with garlic. Secondly, he mentions the market. Letter F is number 2. Number 3, right after, is Steve's restaurant. And then in 4 is letter B, the mussels. Number 5 is letter E, a casserole. And 6 is letter D, the desserts, which he doesn't like cooking. Okay, so this is the order he mentions them. Now, we're going to listen to part 2 of this interview, and then focus on these questions here because later on you are going to answer them. Okay, so question number 1. What does he say is the best and the worst thing about running a restaurant? 2. What's the main difference between British and Spanish customers? 3. What kinds of customers does he find difficult? 4. How does he think eating habits in Spain are changing? I want you to pay attention to something. I'm going to play the audio of this second part of the interview, but this time I am not going to show you the script of this audio, but I want you to see that in your book, in student's book, okay, we have a part of the listening. Can you see the listening? In this section here, you can find the script for all the audios you have in this book. So for example, here is 1-8. You see? The audio script is 1-8. When you look here, look up for this one, you will try to find here by the number script 1-8, and then you can follow here and read the script for this listening. Okay, so let's go, let's listen, and this time just try to focus on the listening, pay attention to it. Okay, don't look at the script at this part, only the second part of the listening.
1.8 Part 2.
What's the best thing about running a restaurant?
I think the best thing is making people happy. That's why even after all this time, I still enjoy it so much.
And the worst thing?
That's easy. It has to be the long hours. This week, for example, I'm cooking nearly every day. We usually close on Sundays and Mondays, but this Monday is a public holiday when lots of people want to eat out, so we're open.
Sociarea is in all the British restaurant guides now. Does that mean you get a lot of British customers?
Yes, we get a lot of British people, especially at the weekends. But then we get people from other countries too.
And are the British customers and the Spanish customers very different?
Yes, I think they are. The British always say that everything is lovely, even if they've only eaten half of it. The Spanish, on the other hand, are absolutely honest about everything. They tell you what they like, they tell you what they don't like. I remember when I first opened, I had sushi on the menu, which was very unusual at that time. And I went into the dining room and I said to people, "So what do you think of the sushi?" And the customers, who were all Spanish, said, "Oh, it was awful. It was raw fish." Actually, I think I prefer that honesty because it helps us to know what people like.
What kind of customers do you find difficult?
I think customers who want me to cook something in a way that I don't think is very good. Let's see, a person who asks for a really well done steak, for instance. For me, that's a difficult customer. You know, they'll say, "I want a really, really well done steak." So I give them a really, really well done steak. And then they say, "It's tough." And I think, well, of course it's tough. It's well done. Well done steak is always tough.
People say that the Mediterranean diet is very healthy. Do you think people's eating habits in Spain are changing?
Well, I think they are changing. Unfortunately, I think they're getting worse. People are eating more unhealthily.
How do you notice that?
I see it especially with younger friends. They often eat in fast food restaurants. They don't cook. And actually, the younger ones come from a generation where their mothers don't cook either. That's what's happening now, and it's a real pity.
Excellent. So, if necessary, please listen once again. These are the questions that I read to you. We are going to answer, okay? Pause the video, listen again, answer them, and then you can continue the audio for the answers. Okay, let's check the answers now. So for question number 1, what does it say is the best and worst thing about running a restaurant? So he mentions that the best thing is making people happy. And the worst thing are the long hours. Question number 2. What's the main difference between the British and the Spanish customers? The British customers always say that everything is lovely, even if they don't actually eat it all. Whereas the Spanish customers are honest and they say what they think. 3. What kinds of customers does he find difficult? Customers who want him to cook something in a way that he doesn't think is very good. For example, a well done steak. And question number 4, how does he think eating habits in Spain are changing? He thinks they are getting worse. People are eating more unhealthily, unfortunately. Okay, great. In activity E, what about you? Answer the questions with a partner. So you can think about your answer to these questions. What was your favorite food when you were a child? 2. Is there anything that you like or that you don't like cooking? 3. In your country, when people eat out, would they usually tell the chef what they really think about the food? 4. Do you know anyone who is a difficult customer in restaurant? Okay, great. So get ready to discuss these questions in your online class. Now we're going to grammar, page 7. In this grammar today, we're going to review the simple present and the continuous action and non-action verbs. To get started, we're going to listen again to some of the things Steve said. You are going to circle the form of the verb he uses. Let's go. Get your pen or your pencil and please circle the words he uses.
1.9. 1.
This week, for example, I'm cooking nearly every day. We usually close on Sundays and Mondays, but this Monday is a public holiday.
2.
The British always say that everything is lovely.
3.
Actually, I think I prefer that honesty because it helps us to know what people like.
4.
Unfortunately, I think they're getting worse. People are eating more unhealthily.
Okay, so now listen again if necessary. If not, let's check your answers. In number 1, he says, this week, for example, I'm cooking nearly every day. We usually close on Sundays and Mondays, but this Monday is a public holiday. The British always say that everything is lovely. 3. Actually, I think I prefer the honesty because it helps us know what people like. 4. Unfortunately, I think they're getting worse. People are eating more unhealthily. All right. So congratulations if you got them right. Now, with a partner, can you say why you think he has chosen each of these forms? So, for example, here, this week, for example, I cook or I'm cooking nearly every day. So, I'm cooking. Why do you think he used I'm cooking here? So, go on and have a guess. Then you can continue the audio so you can check your answers here at grammar. Okay, perfect. Let's check it together here then. Why he preferred some kind of verb tenses when he was talking about his restaurant and the customers. Please repeat, listen, and repeat these examples.
1.10. 1.
I work in a bank. She studies Russian.
We don't have any pets. Jack doesn't wear glasses.
Where do you live? Does your brother have a car?
2.
She usually has cereal for breakfast.
I'm never late for work.
We only eat out about once a month.
Great. So this first part, we are reviewing the simple present. I live, he works, we use do, does, don't, doesn't. Also, we use the verb to be, am, are, is. So we use the simple present for things that are always true or are happening regularly. Remember the spelling rules for third person singular? So for he, she, it, we need to use as at the verbs. So that means that live will become lives. If the verb ends in e, we basically add s. If my verb ends in y preceded by a consonant, I need to drop letter y and add ies. When I have verbs like that end in ch, s, x, okay, we usually add es. So attention to the spelling rules. Remember the word order for questions. Our order is usually the auxiliary verb, the subject, and then a base form of a verb. So in questions, when we use do or does, the verb will always have a base form. No s is used in the verb in this case when we use do or does. Okay? When we have negatives, it's the same. The verb is always in the base form. The only difference is for affirmative sentences. This is when we usually use the as for the verbs in case of third person. And in examples too, we often use the simple present with adverbs of frequency. So every time we have usually, never, once a month, okay, we have here adverbs of frequency, usually, never, and once a month is a frequency, okay, a frequency expression. So this is something which is very characteristic of this verb tense. And just remember that the adverbs of frequency, they usually go before the main verb. Has is the verb, so I have to use before the verb. When I use the verb to be, the adverbs always come after, okay, after the verb to be. Now for the expression of frequency, we usually use them at the end or in the beginning of the sentences, but never between the verb, okay? Adverbs of frequency, okay, that's it. So this is about the simple present. Now, let's review the present continuous.
1.11.
Who are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for a friend.
Is your sister still going out with Adam?
No, they broke up. She isn't going out with anyone right now.
Okay, now for the present continuous, we usually use the verb to be, am, are, is. with a verb in ing. Who are you waiting for? Here we have the verb to be are, the verb wait, and this verb with ing. Okay, so for present continuous tense, we need to focus on things that are in progress at the time of speaking. I am saying and I am doing the thing at the same time. But I can also talk about things that are happening around now, like temporary things. They're not habitual actions, but they are temporary. For example, this year I am learning English. It's not now, but it's a temporary thing that I'm doing repeatedly in my life. Okay, it's a temporary thing. Remember that when we use ing, if the verbs end in E, we need to drop letter E and add ing. When the verb ends in Y, nothing changes, just add ing. And also, when we have a verb that ends in consonant, vowel consonant, I need to double the last letter and then I add ing. And also, present continuous is used for future arrangements. Okay. For example, I am seeing the doctor tomorrow. Are you going out tonight? So present continuous being used to talk about my arrangements, okay, my appointments, my plans. Excellent. Now, we need to focus on something when we are talking about progressive actions. The action and non-action verbs. Let's check them out so you can see the difference.
1.12.
What are you cooking?
I'm making pasta.
Great. I love pasta.
What are you looking for?
My car keys.
I'll help you in a minute.
But I need them now.
Okay, so verbs that describe actions, they are action verbs, okay? Cook, make. They can be used in the simple present or in the continuous. I'm making lunch. I usually make lunch on the weekend. Okay, so we can use for both examples. Verbs that describe states or feelings, they are non-action verbs. For example, love, need, be. Okay, for these verbs, we don't usually use them to in the present continuous tense, for example, even if we mean now. Let's see some examples. When you say estou conhecendo uma pessoa, the verb to know is not an action verb. So you don't say I am knowing a person. Okay, you say I know this person or I'm getting to know this person. That would work better. Okay, so these non-action verbs are not used in the continuous form. Here we have some extra examples for you. Common non-action verbs are usually agree, be, believe, belong, depend, forget, hate, hear, know, like, love, matter, mean, need, prefer, realize, recognize, remember, seem, suppose. some of the examples we have here, okay? Verbs that can be both action and non-action verbs. So here we have a few verbs that have an action and non-action meaning, but it depends on the context, okay? For example, the verbs have and think. I have a cat now. This is possession, is non-action. I have a cat, I have a car, I have a daughter. I can't talk now. I'm having lunch. So when the verb have is together with lunch, dinner, have a party, they are action verbs. I think this music is great. This is expressing an opinion. It's a non-action verb. What are you thinking about? In this situation, it is an action. I am thinking about something. Okay, so careful on the context. Excellent. Now that we revealed continuous and present and simple present, let's do some exercises. Here, letter A. Complete the sentences with the simple present or present continuous forms of the verbs in parentheses. So you are going to take a look and then decide which one you think they are. So please pause the video now and answer the questions in letter A. Okay, so let's go here. Let's check your answers now. 1. These days, most children have too many sugary snacks. 2. Are you taking any vitamins right now? 3. Don't eat the spinach if you don't like it. 4. Does your boyfriend know how to cook fish? 5. We don't get takeout pizzas during the week. 6. What is your mother making? It smells great. 7. You look sad. What are you thinking about? 8. The diet in my country is getting worse. 9. How often do you eat seafood? 10. I don't usually cook fish. All right, if you have any questions, please ask me on my WhatsApp. Letter B, circle the corrective form, simple present or continuous. Let's go. Pause the video and choose between simple present or continuous. Okay, you finished? Let's check your answers. So number 1, come on, let's order. The waiter is coming. 2, Kate doesn't want to have dinner now. She's hungry. Sorry, she isn't hungry. 3, the head chef is sick, so he isn't working today. 4, the check seems very high to me. 5, we've had an argument, so we aren't speaking to each other right now. 6, my mom thinks my diet is awful these days. 7, do we need to go shopping today? 8, can I call you back? I'm having lunch right now. 9, I didn't used to like oil fish, but now I love it. 10, oily fish. 10, What are you cooking? It smells delicious. So this is the grammar section. Please ask me on my WhatsApp if you have any questions, okay? Now, going back to page 7. Let's continue here. Letter D. Make questions to ask your partner with the simple present or continuous. Ask for more information. This practice here is an oral practice we will be doing in our online class, okay? So, on a typical day and right now or nowadays, you will maybe as a preparation, what you can do is write the questions in your notebook, okay? And then in our online class, we are going to discuss these questions. So, just to help you, please, let's start with the first part. On a typical day, can you please complete these questions with the words that are missing? Pause the video and do it. All right, so here we have the answers. What do you usually have for breakfast? Do you drink soda? How many glasses do you drink a day? Where do you usually have lunch? What do you usually have for lunch during the week? Do you ever cook? What do you make? Do you prefer eating at home or eating out? Let's do for the second part now. Right now or nowadays. Pause the video and ask and write the questions. Okay, let's check your answers. So, do you need to buy any food today? Do you want anything to eat right now? What? Are you taking any vitamins or food supplements right now? Are you trying to cut down on anything right now? Is the diet in your country getting better or worse? Okay, excellent. Very well, guys. Now, let's go to activity 7. This is a speaking activity. So please, what do you think? You can write in your notebook your answers if you like. 1. Men are better cooks than women. 2. Both boys and girls should learn to cook at school. 3. Cheap restaurants usually serve bad food. 4. On a night out with friends, where and what you eat isn't important. 5. Not all fast food is unhealthy. 6. Every country thinks that their cuisine is the best in the world. Okay, so we are going to discuss about them during our class. Now, listen to 2 people discussing sentence. 1. Who do you agree with more, the man or the woman, and why? So let's listen. This is personal, okay? Who do you agree with more, the man or the woman?
1.13.
I agree. In most top restaurants, the chef is a man. For example, Mario Batali or Marcus Samuelson.
I don't agree. There are many more women chefs than before in restaurants. And at home, women cook much more than men.
That's true, but I still think men are better cooks. They're more adventurous in the kitchen.
In my opinion, that's only because they don't cook every day. It's easy to be adventurous if you only cook once a week.
I'm not sure. I know a lot of men who cook almost every day.
I think it depends.
Okay. So, who do you agree with more, the man or the woman? And explain why. Now, listen to the phrases in the useful language box and then copy the intonation.
1.14.
I agree.
I don't agree.
I'm not sure.
I think it depends.
For example,
In my opinion,
Okay. So, if you don't understand the meaning of any of them, please look up in a dictionary. Now, there is an activity here for you to say what you think about the sentences. So, we're going to do this in our online class. Okay. So, this class, this first unit finishes here. You are now going to the workbook, please, and do activities from lesson 1A, pages 4 and 5. So here you have vocabulary activities to do, pronunciation, and then the grammar. Please use this program so you can listen to the audios, okay, for the listening activities, and do the exercises. And please let me know if you need any help and extra help.